person tell me that if our husband was to marry again, then I will understand how it feels I will understand the pain that a initial wife goes through when the husband decides to marry someone else. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he married again or any other thing. I know what pain feels like.
Viewer discretion is advised. The content, views, and educational material you are about to experience could challenge your belief, trigger strong emotions, and frankly, piss you off. This isn't for everyone. If you're not ready to confront new ideas, or if your feelings bruise easily, this might be the time to click away. Expect to be challenged, to think, and you might even want to scream at the screen. Proceed with caution, and remember, you chose to be here. Let's get it.
Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Nyla, Coach Nyla, co-founder of Outstanding Personal Relationships, also co-author of Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. And in this video, I'm actually going to answer a question that came from one of our subscribers. And it's very interesting. It's not an easy question to answer, but yeah, I'm going to try to answer it to the best of my ability. Coach Nazir actually did a video pertaining to this question, and the question came on the lines from a sister who, for 8 months, was planning to get married and be part of a polygynous union. And after 8 months of the initial wife knowing about it, and the planning and everything like that, after 8 months of that, into where it was going to be close to the nikah, the initial wife decided to take the kids, go to her mom's, and told the husband that is either me or her, and I don't want to deal with that. So, you have to choose. So, of course, he didn't want to have to fight for his kids or be without his children or anything like that. And he decided that the potential subsequent wife, had to go, even after this months of planning and whatever, however it went. So the question came from the sister and asked, how do you get over the heartbreak of that? The interesting thing is we've had those questions come up on more than one occasion. How do you come up? How do you get over the heartbreak? How do you deal with being tossed aside when it comes to an initial wife not agreeing with polygyny, or that it seemed like it was okay at first, and as the nikah came nearer, that they did not want to deal with it anymore. That was something that they realized it was getting real, or really real, so to speak, and didn't want to deal with it. So they decided to pull out all the stops, so to speak, in order to sabotage it, is the word that I'm actually going to use, sabotage it. I've seen a number of responses to this, and a number of the responses totally favored the initial wife, which I did a video a while back called First Wife, Subsequent Wife in the First Wife's World, that allows this type of situation to not be shocking, so to speak. So, but I continue to state that we are all people. We are human beings. We all have feelings, whether you're a first wife, second wife, third wife, whatever wife the timeline that you came into the marriage, you're still a wife, period. Or you're still a human being, period. So you still have emotions, you still have feelings. The interesting thing is that we constantly hear that the first wife is the one who is entitled to her feelings, because, and it's not a versus, it's not a, first wife versus second wife, or first wife versus subsequent wife, or anything like that. But we do have to talk about the real here. And we do have to understand that it is a first wives world, because it's mainly first wives out there. It is what it is. But the thing is, we've had a number of subsequent wives or potential subsequent wives or women who are actually looking to be subsequent wives who have a fear of being tossed aside if the subsequent wife, or I mean, if the initial wife does not agree with polygyny and threatens to take children away, threaten to divorce, threaten to do anything like that. Now, does the first wife have to agree with polygyny? No, she doesn't have to be a part of it, I guess I should say. But if she's Muslim, she has to understand, and wives, period, we all understand as Muslim, that it's a possibility. We've seen that a number of people said, well, the first wife gets blindsided, or if he didn't tell her, she got blindsided. Not necessarily. If you're Muslim, you know that it's a possibility of polygyny. If it becomes a possibility in your life as a wife that's already married, then you do have your options. You have your options of divorce. You have your options of, staying. You have options. It's not that you're forced into anything. You do have that option. The thing is that, yes, you have to deal with some personal development and you have to deal with certain issues. Okay, and I keep saying you have to. We actually really don't. You don't have to do anything. You could be angry, you could be bitter, you could be whatever. It doesn't really matter. But best practice, let's just say that, best practice is that, you want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, being emotionally mature, emotionally intelligent, and learning how to deal with those different things. We all have challenges in our lives. We all go through challenges in our lives. And the thing is, I start hearing about, well, if the husband knows that she's going to be hurt, why would he do this? I know that my child is going to be hurt when I say that he can't have ice cream for breakfast, but he's still not going to have ice cream for breakfast. And I know people will say, well, that's not the same or anything like that. Hurt is hurt, regardless of how you want to put it on a schedule. On a level. Now, to my son, him not getting ice cream for breakfast may be just up at the high level of a person, initial wife realizing that her husband wants to practice polygyny. Now, we can't say that because pain, hurt, or whatever, we all feel it, but it's relative. So the thing is that I know I had to give, a little bit of caveat, or had to give a little bit of background or a little training before I tried to answer this question for this sister, because when it comes down to it, it's, it is that versus. I've seen it a lot. I mean, being a subsequent wife in polygyny, I've been through it. I've been through it even with some of you guys who are watching this video right now, with the verses. And it is what it is. I've come to the point to realize that people are going to be people regardless. People are going to have their own insecurities, their own feelings, their own ideas, their own whatever. And it's not up to me to force somebody to think a certain way. It's up to them to change their way of thinking. But it is up to me to educate. And it is up to me, because I put it on myself, to give subsequent wives a voice, because this is a place where they really don't have it when it comes to, in this day and age, I should say. So there were a lot of comments that said, well, we as wives don't think, our husbands are going to marry again, or we don't want them to marry again, or, we don't want to share. So, you have to understand, we may have to pull out last ditch efforts in order to keep them. Now, Coach Nyla already talked about what that can actually do. Would that make your husband want to stay with you, or is he reluctant to stay in with you because he want to make sure that he has no issues with seeing his children? And how would that cause him to feel about you later on in life? Not because he couldn't marry again, but just because you became his enemy now by threatening to take what he loves away from him. And I'm going to do a video on that. It's a video coming up about wives as bullies. And it doesn't matter if you're first wife, second wife, any type of wife, because that's a form of bullying.
You're already on our channel, and you see how we are empowering people when it comes to polygamy education. You may be wondering, what's the next step? Especially knowing that we are the authors of the book,
Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. If you want to get off the emotional roller coaster, whether it's jealousy, insecurity, frustration, anger, maybe even guilt in some cases, you're going to want to pick up this book.
Definitely wish I would have had this book back a while ago when we first embarked on polygyny. And you will learn a lot of things about minding your marriage and what that actually means. So you're not comparing your marriage to your co-wives or anybody else's for that matter.
If you've heard, I'm not against polygamy, I just against when it's not done right, you want to learn how to do it right? This will teach you how to be more than twice the man you need to be to get it done. Let's talk polygamy.com. We look forward to shipping yours off to you.
Where you want to force somebody to do things your way, and it's your way or else. And you will take away things that give them peace, that give them joy, in order to make them do things that you want them to do. So that's that. That's neither here nor there about this specific answer on how do you deal with heartbreak. Here's the thing, you don't get over the heartbreak is what I'm going to say, because you have to look at it this way. There are a number of things that happen in our lives, and there are things that could be traumatic that happen in our lives. Think about if you were stood up at the altar, like you went to get married and your spouse or your potential spouse didn't show up at all, disappeared, ghosted you. That's not something you just get over. That's not something that, whether you're male, female, it doesn't matter. Whether you're the potential wife or the potential husband, it doesn't matter. But doesn't that stick with you? Wouldn't that stick with you? Wouldn't that put you in a position where you're questioning if the person that comes into your life later on is really there for you? Will it trigger something when you say, you know what? Okay, we're going to get married because this person says they want to marry you. And then you're like, okay, you know what? I don't know if I want to go through this again, because now I'm terrified that this person will leave me at the altar like the last person did. Is that fair? It cannot be fair. It's not for me to judge. However, it's a possibility that will stick and stay. It's a possibility that those will be triggers. There are certain things that will cause these triggers, and it will change you and have you dealing with things in a different way. And it could cause people to be bitter. It could cause people to be overprotective. It can cause a lot of things, and it could cause a lot of strain, stress, and issues, because our feelings are important. And yes, if we're going to talk about first wives' feelings, we need to talk about husbands' feelings. We need to talk about subsequent wives' feelings. We need to talk about the feelings of everyone involved, because we all have them. Whether we knew it coming in, whether we planned it out, whether we were quote unquote blindsided by it, we all still have feelings. I had a person tell me that when I become, if our husband was to marry again, then I will understand how it feels I will understand the pain that a initial wife goes through when the husband decides to marry someone else. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he married again or any other thing. I know what pain feels like. I know what mistrust feels like. I know what betrayal feels like. I know all of those things. And regardless of if that was the feeling that was had when a husband marries again, I don't need someone to do that in that particular way in order for me to feel that. For one, if he married again, I already know that is a possibility. Even if I was an initial wife, I still know that's a possibility. My thing is, what I can control, I want to make sure that I give him the proper environment for him to be able to speak to me about it. Now, do he have to notify me? I don't have it in my contract that he has to notify me that he gets married again. Would I appreciate that? Of course I would. So it's just these different things that we have to understand. Will it hurt me that he get married again? No, because I'm a type of person that I really, truly do want for my sister what I want for myself. There's too many women out here who do not have protectors, who do not have maintainers, who do not have providers, that are struggling on their own. Now, what if she's not struggling on her own? What if she's a beautiful, young, single lady that is just doing her own thing? So be it, because that's another person in my life that I can enjoy. I mean, he can enjoy, that's his wife, great. However, she'll be part of my family. She'll be part of our family. Just to be a person that I can get to know, a person that I could possibly learn from, and she possibly learn from me, because I look at the positives. Now, don't get me wrong. Is jealousy there? Could jealousy be there? Of course. Of course. Whether you married to a person I'm married to or not, I could get jealous. However, I feed my jealousies in a different way, or I fuel my jealousies, or I allow my jealousies to propel me in a different way. I allow them to allow me to be better. I use them as motivation, not as something that's going to create some envy that I want to tear someone else down or destroy their happiness. So how do you get over someone destroying your happiness? The thing is, you have to work on you. To get over it, I don't know if you could ever get over it. However, you can allow it to not infect you. And how you allow it to not infect you is to know that you are a beautiful, amazing human being. And you work on being that amazing human being. If you're having some issues with realizing that, you go into personal development. You get a coach if you want to, make it to the next level. Or if you don't see, if you need someone else to show it to you until you get to see it for yourself. I usually tell some of my clients, borrow my belief in you until you believe in yourself. Borrow my belief in you. So if you have to get some people to believe in you and to feed that goodness in you, allow those people into your life. But make sure that you are allowing the good people into your life. And don't allow a lot of the negativity to destroy you. Don't put yourself down. Don't wonder, what did I do, or what could I have done better? Because you did what you did. And maybe right now, that's just not the person for you. And realize that as well. Believe in the qadr of Allah. Believe in, what's put out there in your path. But you still work on being the best that you can be, because can't no one change that. The only person that can make you feel a certain way is you. So if you want to feel amazing, you can do that. If you want to feel crappy, you can do that too. And yes, there are different things that happen in our lives that can affect that. However, it's still up to us in order to allow that to be a thing that's going to carry on throughout our lives. So getting over it, I can't tell you how to really do that, but how to be able to be resilient and I don't like really using the word strong, because that can have this crazy connotation, because people think that because you're strong, you don't get hurt, and that puts up a wall. But you can be resilient, you can be outstanding, you can look at your challenges as motivation, you can look at your challenges as lessons and as stepping stones to be a better, greater you. And you'll be that much better for the person who deserves to be with you. And inshallah, God willing, Allah will put that person into your life. But you make sure that you are open to that, and don't let this thing that caused some drama and trauma and problems into your life to allow you to close doors on any type of beauty that can potentially come into your life in the future. Inshallah, that helps. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Make sure you are growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum. Peace.